Okay, we're going on to variables on both sides of an equation. How do you solve an equation when you have variables on both sides of the equation? So for example, if you look at this equation, it's 5x plus 1 equals 3x plus 5. You have an x over here, well actually you have 5 of them, and you have 3 of them over there. And they've actually modeled this with this little balance thing, because remember, an equation is like a balance. It means that the two things are exactly equal to each other. So hopefully you can make sense of this. It says 5x, and on the side we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 x's, and we have plus 1, and this little blue one represents 1. On this side we have 3x, 1, 2, 3 x's, and 5, so you have 5 of those blue ones. So the question I have for you is, what could you do to simplify this situation here, but still have it balanced? So for example, if you were just to take 5 of these x's off, it wouldn't be balanced anymore, would it? So what can you do? I'll give you a hint, you have to do it to both sides, and you could keep it balanced. Well, one thing you could do is you could take away one blue marble from this side. That's fine. It's going to be unbalanced if you do that, unless you also take away one from this side. So what's that like doing with our equation? That's like doing that minus 1 and minus 1 from both sides, which we've done before. Okay? But there's actually something else we could do. I mean, don't look at the equation, look at the blocks. What else could you do to keep it balanced but simplify the situation? You could take away 3 x's from this side, as long as you do the same from this side and take away 3 x's from that side. So that's what our move's going to be today, is if you have x's on both sides, you're actually going to take away 3x from both sides. Why does that make sense? Because now you have no x's on this side. Look, you don't have any x's, you just have blue ones. And what do you now have on this side? You have 2 x's left. 5x take away 3x is 2x. You still have your plus 1, and you still have 5 blue ones on this side. Then you could take away your blue one from each side, so minus 1, minus 1. Now you have 2x equals 4, and then you divide by 2. Alright, that's the idea. So, that gives you a sense. I'll give you a little more details as we go through some questions. So here's your steps. Now you're probably getting sick of writing these steps down. You don't have to write them all down every time. But we do have one new step. It's not this one, because we're not getting step number 1 until the next video. That'll be our last step next time. How exciting. No spoilers today. Actually, there might be a slight spoiler at the end. Number 2, get rid of brackets by using the distributive property. That's an old step we've already learned, but you will still do that before combining like terms on the same side of the equal sign. Wait a minute, we've done that one too. That's what we did last day. That's when you look on both sides and combine the terms that are like terms. Finally, we get to today's new rule. So I'll highlight this one because this is a new rule here today, people. Move all the variable terms, so remember variables are letters, and you do that by either adding or subtracting. The way we did it up here, remember, is we subtracted 3x from both sides. Sometimes you would add a certain amount. So for example, if what we had up here was exactly the same question, but we had minus 3x on this side, then you would add 3x and add 3x, because negative 3x plus 3x cancels out, right? So you're either going to add or subtract, and you get all the variables on one side of the equal sign. You don't want to have variables on both sides. You want to get the variables on one side, and that way you can then isolate the variable. And that's our next step, isolate the variable. Remember, you're going to look for adding and subtracting before you multiply divide. We've done that step a whole bunch of times. And finally, if you want to, the optional step, you can check your answer. Some of these questions get so complicated that's almost not worth it, because your chances of making a mistake when you check your answer are so high. Alright, let's do some here. First one, step 1 we're not doing. Step 2, get rid of brackets. We don't have any brackets in that question. Step 3, combine like terms on the same side of the equal sign. So let's do that first. So first of all, I'm going to look on the left. I'm just going to look at this side first. So can you combine anything there? No, there's nothing to combine. Those are not like terms. Then I look at the right side. Is there anything to combine there? Nope, those aren't like terms either. Okay, don't be combining the 4m and the 2m right now. Those are not on the same side of the equal sign. This is step number 4, the new step here. So it says get all the variables to one side. So you actually have a choice here. You could get rid of the 4m on this side. How would you do that? Well, since it's positive 4m, you'd go minus 4m and minus 4m, and you take it from there. 4m take away 4m is 0, that's gone, that cancels. You're left with negative 6 on this side equals 2m take away 4m. 2 take away 4 is negative 2m. plus 8. Okay, and then you take it from there. Now you need to isolate the variable. Look for adding or subtracting first. So I could subtract 8 from both sides. I'm going to do it faster today. -6 take away 8. I'm going to start assuming you can just do that. -6 take away 8 is -14 equals -2m. Then you divide both sides. Since this is multiplying, the -2 multiplied by m, you divide by -2 on both sides. And you end up with m, the -2's cancel, equals, negative divided by negative is positive, 14 divided by 2 is 7. So that works fine. You can do that. Now, what I wish I'd done is write the same question over again here, and I'll show you the other way you could do it. Here, I've written it over here. So this first way we solved it is by subtracting 4m on both sides to get rid of the 4m. But we could also get rid of the 2m, right? We could get rid of the m's on this side and get all our m's over to the left side. So let's see what happens if we do that. Since it's positive 2m, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to subtract 2m, and what we do to one side, we do to the other. 4m take away 2m is 2m. We still have a -6. Those cancel. We still have 8 on this side. Now we're going to isolate the variable. Do the opposite of -6, which is +6. You end up with 2m equals 14, and then you divide by 2. And you get your answer, m equals 7. Exact same answer. Now, question, which one of those did you probably enjoy more? I think you probably enjoyed this one a little bit more. Do you know why? Because we kept our m's, our variables, we kept them positive. You can always guarantee you do this if you focus on the smaller amount, right? 2m is less than 4m, so subtract 2m. Get rid of the 2m. Get rid of the one that's smaller. Now you can't always do that. I'll give you an exception in a couple questions here, but it's not a bad rule of thumb, and it's what I always try to do, is to move the smaller one. Get rid of the smaller one. Okay? Alright, let's try another one. So step 1 we're not doing. Step 2 is to get rid of brackets, and yes, we can do the distributive property here. So we have to do it here, and we also have to do it here. -3 times n is -3n. -3 times +3, it's only one negative, so it's going to be negative, and it's -9. Plus 1 equals, 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times -2 is just one negative, so it's negative. 4 times 2n is 8n. Okay, next step is to, now I really recommend you do it in this order, combine the like terms on the same side. So we're just going to look on the left-hand side here. Is there anything you can combine? Yes, you can combine the -9 plus 1. So keep the -3n. -9 plus 1 is -8. There's no like terms on this side, so we can just rewrite that. Now, we want to get all our n's to one side. So you can either get rid of the -3n or get rid of the -8n. What's a smaller amount, -3 or -8? -8 is smaller, so let's get rid of the -8. That'll keep our n's positive, and I like that. So since it's -8n, what are we going to do? We're going to add 8n, and add 8n on this side as well. -3 plus 8, you have more positives, you have 5 more, so it's 5n, take away 8, equals, on this side all that's left is 20. Okay, now we're going to isolate the variable, look for adding or subtracting step first, so we will add 8, so plus 8, 5n equals 28, and this is 5 times n, we do the opposite and divide by 5. Doesn't go unevenly, but that's okay. You get 28 over 5. You could do it mixed, 5 goes into 28 5 times with 3 left over, or you could do 28 divided by 5 in your calculator and you'll get 5.6. All very good answers. Okay, next, get rid of brackets. There are none. Look for like terms. Yeah, there's definitely like terms. On the left-hand side, I have 4w and also a 1w there. So that gives me 5w. And then I have a -2 and a -6. So that's -2, take away another 6, you're down to -8. On this side, I have a 3w and a -2w. Well, 3 take away 2 is just 1w. What the heck, I'll put 1w. You could also just put w. And then I still have this plus 8. Great, let's get all our w's to one side. Do you want to get rid of the 5 or the 1? Get rid of the smaller one, get rid of the 1. So -1w and -1w. 5 minus 1 is 4w. Still have a -8. And we still have a plus 8 on this side. So if we add 8 to both sides, we now have 4w equals 8 plus 8 is 16. This is 4 times w, so we're going to divide by 4, and you're going to end up with w equals 4. And there you go. Hey, I haven't checked one yet. I don't feel confident about this one. Let me check it. So I'm going to put a 4 in here, 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 and here. I got to put 4s in all those spots. So 4 times 4, w is 4, so 4 times 4 is 16, minus 2 plus 4 minus 6 equals 3 times 4 is 12, plus 8 minus 2 times 4 is 8. Okay, on this side, 16 minus 2 is 14, plus 4 is 18, minus 6 is 12. On this side, 12 plus 8 is 20, minus 8 is 12. It worked out. I have this answer correct. Alright, next one. I've got to get rid of the brackets first, so some distributive property here and here. 3 times 2w is 6w, 3 times 7 is 21, 2 times 2w is 4w, 2 times negative 6 is negative 12, and we still have a w on that side. Okay, on the left side, do we have like terms? We do. We have a 6w and a 4w, which makes 10w. And we have a 21 minus 12. Uh-oh, break out the calculators. 21 take away 12 is positive 9. So plus 9 equals w. Okay, now we want to get all the w's to one side. So which one's smaller, 10w or w, which is just 1w? What's smaller? 1w. So here's the exception one. You probably do not want to move the smaller one this time. Do you know why? Because if you move the smaller one, there's nothing left on this side. Now you can still do it. I'm going to show you what you do just in case you ever find yourself in this situation. If you decide to move the smaller one, that's fine. Maybe don't write this down because I'm going to show you the other way you can do it. 10w minus 1w is 9w plus 9 equals, what's left on this side? Nothing. There's nothing left there. So what would you have to put here? 0. And then you could go from there. Minus 9, minus 9. I mean, what the heck, I'll just finish it off. You'd have 9w equals negative 9. And then you divide by 9, you get w equals negative 1. It worked. Don't panic if this happens. Just throw a 0 in there and keep going. But you can save a step if you get in this situation and you notice, uh-oh, if I subtract 1w here, I'm going to have nothing left. You can avoid that by subtracting 10w. This is the one case where you might want to subtract the bigger one. So that's gone. You now have 9 equals 1 take away 10. That equals negative 9w. And this is negative 9 times w. You're going to do the opposite. You're going to divide by negative 9. Divide by negative 9. W equals 9 divided by negative 9 is negative 1. And you're done. Okay? Tricky one. Alright, whoa, look at the size of this thing. Can we even answer this? I don't know. I don't know if I can do it. Let's be confident. Let's go for it. So the first thing we want to do is get rid of brackets. So we definitely have some brackets here and some brackets here. What do you say here? Yeah, you could think of those as brackets. If you put what number after that negative sign or that minus sign? If you put a 1 there, you can also think of this as being distributive property as well. So we have 5. Now, negative 1 times y. That's negative 1y. And negative 1 times negative 3. Well, negative times a negative is a positive, and 1 times 3 is 3. Remember, what I told you before is if you have a negative in front of a bracket, like you do here, you have this negative right there. Basically, what that negative is going to do in front of the bracket is change the sign of both of these. So your y is going to become negative y, and your negative 3 is going to become plus 3. Or do what I did and think of it as negative 1 and distributive property. Next, this is negative 4, right? Notice I haven't put a sign down yet. This is negative 4 times 6. Well, it's only one negative, so it's negative, and 4 times 6 is 24. Now it's negative 4 times negative 2y. Negative times negative is positive, and 4 times 2y is 8y. Next, 10 times 3y, well that's 30y, and 10 times negative 2 is negative 20. Then I still have a plus 32 and a minus 9y. Incredible, it's so long here. Alright, let's combine like terms. On the left hand side, we'll do our y's first. We have a negative 1y, and we have a positive 8y. So what do you have more of? You have more positives, and how many more do you have? You have 7 more, so 7y. Okay, now you can combine 5 plus 3, well that equals 8, take away 24. Oh my gosh, 8 take away 24? That's the same as 8 plus negative 24. You have more negatives, and how much more is 24 than 8? 16. On the other side, you can combine 30y and negative 9y. 30 take away 9 is 21, so you have 21y. And then negative 20 plus 32. You have more positives, and you have 12 more of them. Okay, the question's looking a lot easier now. Now we want to get our y's to one side. So you can either move 7 or 21. I like moving the smaller one, so I'm going to subtract 7y from both sides. That leaves us with negative 16 on this side. 21 take away 7 is 14, and these are y's of course, plus 12. Great, now we just need to look for an adding and subtracting step. Got to get this y isolated, right? So I'm going to subtract 12 from both sides. Negative 16 take away 12. That is the same as negative 16 plus negative 12. They're both negative, so it's going to stay negative. And you now have 28 negatives. And on this side, 14y. That's 14 times y. We do the opposite. Divide by 14, divide by 14. And finally, you have your answer. Y equals negative, because there's only one negative here. 28 divided by 14 is 2. Y equals negative 2 is our answer. All right, everyone. They're now officially pretty tough questions, and I hope you're still able to do them. And if you aren't, you know who to talk to. Take care.